Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Built Different podcast. In studio with me, I have Anne Dorn, so I'm going to let her introduce herself.
I'm Anne Dorn. I am a retired sergeant from the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department. I did 28 years with the agency, retired after my husband was murdered in 2020.
Let's talk a little bit about that. What happened?
It was the George Floyd riots, and I'll set the stage. There was peaceful protests during the day. I was assigned to headquarters at the time. Everybody was super peaceful that day. They were protesting in front of the Justice Center, things like that. But as nightfall, and we were already on 12-hour shifts, and I was working 8 to 8 that day. And as nights started falling, and it started getting dark, you could see the difference change. The good people started leaving. The protesters, I don't even want to call them protesters. The rioters started moving in. They were actually the ones who were there changing their clothes, putting black on. And the word was they were coming towards headquarters. So I told my boss, I said, I'm leaving. I'm not going to get trapped in headquarters because I was parked right out front. So I went home. Dave was home having dinner already. And we talked about what was going on downtown. Dave had already been retired from our department, probably 6 or 7 years.
And he was a captain when he retired, correct?
He was a captain. He did 38 years.
What district was he at the time? It was probably...
He was patrol support.
Okay.
For the last 15 years. He was over mobile and SWAT and traffic and all that. He was the night chief for the last 15 years. So anything that happened after 6 o'clock, he was on. Yeah. And then he was the one on TV all the time. So he was well known in the community. He was well known in the police department. Yes. And we were laughing and joking at home while he was eating. I was telling him what was going on, and I had to be back at work at 8 a.m. So I was like, I'm gonna go to bed. Yeah. And he's like, that's fine. He goes, I'll be downstairs watching TV. That way he didn't bother me. Around 11 o'clock at night, I got a phone call that 4 officers had been shot at the 7-Eleven. They went in to help the firefighters who were fighting the fire, and they were taking gunfire. Officers stepped in to help them against upper management's orders. And while they were intercepting to help the firefighters, 4 were shot. I got the phone call because I was the mental health coordinator at the time, and I was on the post-shooting team, the trauma team. And they called and said, hey, this is what's going on. Everybody's being treated and released, but they're going to be back at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, great. I'll activate the people. We'll all be there meeting them in the morning. Went downstairs and told Dave. He's sitting in his recliners watching movies. He's not even watching the news. Yeah. And I just said, this is what's happened, and I'm going to go in early. Yeah. And he's like, fine, okay. He goes, if anything else happens, let me know. And he would stay down until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I have to get him and, hey, go to bed. He'd be sleeping in the recliner. So around, I want to say it was 4 o'clock in the morning, somebody's ringing our doorbell. And I was sound asleep. I have no idea what time it was, really. But I found out later it was 4. And I'm yelling for him to answer the door. Dave, answer the door. Dave, answer the door. And the dogs weren't really, they barked a little bit, but they weren't barking. Right. And I had 2 little dogs that they would attack the door when somebody rang the doorbell. And it was a consistent knocking and ringing of the doorbell. Where I lived at the time in the city was close to downtown. I didn't go to the door without a gun.
Right, yeah.
So I grabbed a gun and went to the door. And I wasn't paying attention to anything, and I opened the door and the alarm's going off. So I have to turn the alarm off, which is, if Dave's in the house and he's not in bed, the alarm isn't set because the basement door was been open. Right. I didn't pay attention. The door was closed. I didn't pay attention to any of that stuff. And Chief Hayden's standing there. And the first thing I ask him is, where's Dave? Just like that, where's Dave? Yeah. And he's like, and he looks me dead in the eye. And I've known John Hayden for 30 plus years. Right. And he goes, and David's dead. And I'm like, no, he's downstairs. He's like, no, honey, he's not downstairs. And it's just not clicking. And everything from there just kind of went, I think I knew I went into shock. Yeah. And I remember calling my family, calling my sisters, calling the kids. And it was a blur for a couple months. Yeah. after that. I don't remember who came to my house.
Yeah.
By the grace of God, my sisters, they took notes. My sisters were just the most awesome people in the world, and they stepped up.
That's imperative in that kind of moment, you know, someone to step in and kind of take things off of your plate that, you know, you might have to remember or take on later on. Like my family, whenever I was shot, they were taking notes, you know, hey, talk to this lawyer, talk to this people. And it's very important to have that kind of support system.
Oh, awesome. And there was 3 phones, my home phone, my phone, and Dave's phone. And all of them were, of course, exploding.
Yeah.
And I had 3 sisters, and they all took a phone.
Yeah.
And my one sister got a notepad, and she just starts writing everything down. She didn't know what was needed, what wasn't. Anytime somebody called, she'd write their name down.
Yeah.
Even if it was just, hey, we're here to help.
Mm-hmm.
She'd just write their name down. And that way I knew later on I could look at the net and say, oh, okay, well, so-and-so called. Mm-hmm. Or somebody was at the house. I don't remember people coming in the house.
Yeah.
So it was, you know, like you said, it was very imperative that family stepped in and took care of everything. Yeah. And the kids were awesome. My sisters were awesome. You find out who your friends are. Mm-hmm. You find out who's there for you.
Yeah.
When things happen. And little Emily Isles, I don't know if you knew Emily. She worked for me in the 4th District.
Name sounds familiar, yeah.
And she was on her 4th COVID, where she had to be isolated at home.
Yeah.
You know, she was off work for 14 days, and she called and she goes, I've already tested negative twice, but I'm still off for the next 3 or 4 days. I'm coming over. Is that okay? And I'm like, I don't care. Yeah, come on. And so she was kind of like self-imposed, my little bodyguard at my house. And I even found out later that because of where we lived, and a lot of people knew Dave, and a lot of people knew me, that even though it wasn't a line of duty death, officers volunteered to sit outside our house because it was to keep the press away. It was to keep people away that didn't need to be there. And everybody that sat outside our house volunteered to do that. And awesome. That was pretty special too.
Yeah.
That they did that.
And I know we kind of talked about this off camera, but it's a family. It's a family thing, having that, having people sit there and, you know, want to help and take care of you. And even Dave, you know, take care of his legacy. It's a family thing. So moving on from that night, you've now started a foundation in his honor. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. About 2 years after he died, once the dust settled, I wanted to do something to remember his name. And the kids and I talked about a scholarship, things like that. But scholarships, yeah, it might change one life, but it's so much money towards one person. And I wanted to, how could I make a big impact?
Right.
And I saw what the police foundation was doing, but they were only doing it with St. Louis City and St. Louis County.
Right.
And these are millionaires. We need something. The city needs something. Okay, here's a check for, you know, whatever.
Whatever.
I started talking to these smaller municipalities, and some money was donated to me. And I took a big chunk of that money and started the foundation with it, the David Dorn Foundation. And I thought, I'm going to do this kind of on a level of the foundation. And as it grows, I can do more.
Right.
So we started first with, what can we do? We thought, and I teamed up with retired officer Gary Foster. He and I had worked together off and on throughout our careers. He worked for Dave for many years. As sergeants, we kind of sat next to each other.
Oh, yeah.
And him and his wife really stepped up to help me. So I was running things past him. And he's like, let's see what we can do. And he goes, everybody needs a flashlight. He goes, even in daytime, you need a flashlight. And a good flashlight is hard to come by, and they're expensive. So we started looking around, and we found out a lot of agencies, the smaller munis, once you get outside the city and the county, they don't make a whole lot of money. They can make more money in fast food than they can being a policeman.
Right. And
we're finding out they get a $200 like uniform allowance. So if you're looking to buy a holster, you're looking to buy a coat, you're not buying a $150 flashlight. You're not buying safety equipment. You're not buying tourniquets. No. And as you can well testify, and I don't know how many other officers could say, tourniquets save lives.
They do.
And that was one of the things I insisted on being in there, because we actually had officers saying, can you buy us tourniquets? We don't have them. I'm like, what do you mean you don't have tourniquets?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's the least I could do. I'll buy everybody tourniquets.
Yeah.
So we started looking into it, and we sat down with Jeffco, and that's where I live now, and I met a lot of officers down there. So I sat down and I said, hey, what can you guys use? And they said, well, can you buy us like a dozen eye and ear protection for the range? And I remember sharing eyes and ears at our range.
Oh, yeah.
And you're always wiping them down. They're sweaty. They're gross. So I'm like, you know what? No, I'm buying everybody eyes and ears.
Yeah.
So I bought eye protection, ear protection. And then Gary was a paramedic before. So he put together a very small trauma kit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not meant to use on accidents for other people. It's meant to be used on other officers or yourself. It has Vaseline gauze for sucking chest wounds. It has an arterial bleed pad, and it has the tourniquet.
Mm-hmm.
And it might not be much, but it's going to be enough until either help can get there or until you can get somebody to a hospital.
Get them up, get them moving. Yep.
And we find out a lot of these rural guys too are 45 minutes from a hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Some an hour, depending on where they are. They don't have trauma hospitals where they are. So any little bit we knew could help. So we did that. We started putting these little, and we started buying duty bags. A lot of guys don't have them, and they are expensive.
Yeah. And
I didn't realize that I was I was actually at Leon's one day after I retired, and I was buying a pair of pants, and somebody was graduating from our police academy, and Grandma's in there trying to shop for them, and she was looking at, and she goes, "Which one?" I said, "Well, if I had to choose, I would pick this duty bag over this one."
Yeah.
And that was the idea where the duty bag came from. And so we just started putting things in it, and we asked, what could you guys use? And then from there we bought boots for some firefighters. We had firefighters that were wearing rubber boots in 20-degree weather with holes in them. And they're in a basement with 6 inches of water. And they were told, we don't have enough money to buy new boots. So, with the money we had, we do the best we can. We try and find vendors. We try and buy wholesale. And every dollar we get goes back into the foundation. I don't get a salary. Gary doesn't get a salary. We have our pensions.
Right.
So every penny we get and we're basically donation driven.
Right.
We don't have big sponsors. We don't have corporate sponsors. It's, Miss Jones down the street sending me $20. It's you giving me $5. It's just, it all adds up.
Yeah.
That we have helped probably at least 2,000 at least 2,000 first responders, if not once, twice, because we actually started buying duty boots for policemen. And every officer in Jefferson County has a pair of boots that we've bought for them.
That's awesome.
And every officer in Jefferson County has gotten the duty bag as well, with the safety equipment in it. And we're looking to do more. We've spread out. We've gone far as the Ozarks, and as far north as all the way up to, I want to think it's Monroe County.
Okay.
And we've gone almost down to the Boot Heel with that. And just last year, I met a friend after Dave died, and him and his wife have become really good friends of mine, and I love them to death. It's Josh and Nicole McCaffey. And Josh was a former police officer who was on a Secret Service task force. And then he went on to work with Amazon, and he started his own business, and he does like AI criminal investigation classes.
Okay.
And I sat down with him one day before one of our trivia nights, and he goes, "What do you need?" And I'm thinking, I don't know how to ask for money. I need money, but what do I do? How do I ask for money? And so he started kind of teaching me how to ask for money. I'm like, I could be on a homicide. I could have 4 people dead, but I can't stand in front of a room and ask somebody for money. So Josh was helping me with that. And all of a sudden Josh looks at me and he goes, "Ann," he goes, "I want to help you." He goes, "Not just, I'm going to write you a check today." He goes, "Don't worry about that. I'm going to give you some money." He goes, "But I have these classes." And he goes, "I only teach them to federal agencies, and I want to get them to more local." I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "I'm going to give you a grant for $500,000 to give away $500,000 worth of classes." And I'm almost in tears. And he goes, "Nope, better yet, I'm giving you $1 million." He goes, "And if you give them away, I'm going to renew it." And I'm like,
that's big.
It's huge.
Yeah.
These are classes that most officers can't get their hands on.
Yeah.
These are criminal investigative classes, criminal investigation expert, cybercrime expert, human trafficking, social media, things like that. That are really up and coming.
Yeah.
And agencies pay for basic training now.
Yeah.
They pay for what's needed. They don't pay for the extras.
Mm-mm.
These classes, and they're all post-certified.
It's awesome.
So these guys get their continuing education hours, and they can get anywhere from 30 hours up to 120 hours just from one class. And they're absolutely free.
Yeah.
They just have to reach out to me, and I register them.
That's awesome.
That's the only catch. You gotta talk to me to get the class. And if that's a catch, then hey. But
yeah,
it's something a lot of these officers would never be able to get. Their agencies can't afford it.
Right.
And training is some of the first stuff that's cut.
Yeah.
And Josh is really building up. He's doing active shooter things. He's trying to get it turned into a FLETC Academy. And he's also trying to get it college accreditation for it. So not only can they get post hours, they can get college accreditation hours once he gets that finalized. But it's just so many things that law enforcement officers can't get on their own without having to come out of pocket.
Yeah.
And people don't realize we don't make a whole lot of money. And we worked 2-3 jobs sometimes just to make it.
Yes.
And, you don't have any children.
Mm-mm.
I didn't have any children of my own, but I know many that do that have to work 2 or 3 jobs just to pay for education and things like that. So any money that I can save an officer is kind of my goal when it comes to, instead of them buying their own equipment, I'll do it for them.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps money on their table. It keeps food on in their homes. They can buy their kids. They can register their kids for a dance class instead.
Yeah.
Things like that. But that's my goal. Dave was always huge on taking care of his officers. If they needed something, he got it. Even if he got his ass chewed out by the chief, which he did many times, he still did it.
That's
he
awesome.
wheeled and dealed until he got it. And I'm not as talented as he was with that, but I'm hoping with his legacy, I can carry that on. And even after I'm gone, it'll go on. And that's the least I can hope for with it, that it'll touch enough people that we can continue to grow. And, right now donations are tough. People are really struggling still.
Absolutely.
But we're working. We're working on it.
I think, it's great. It's great what you've done. I obviously follow you. I try to follow you on Facebook and watch everything. I've been to a few of your events and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's a trivia night coming up?
We do. We have a trivia night April 25th. It's a Friday.
Okay.
Doors open at 5:30. Event starts at 7.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to mess up her name. Laura Barsinkowitz from Channel 5 is going to do our MC for us.
That's awesome.
We're going to be down at the Festus Elks Lodge.
Okay.
They donated the lodge to us for free.
Awesome.
And that was a couple policemen pulling some strings for us. We got it. And we're going to have drink specials. $15 armband will get you drinks for the night. And it's bring your own food and just
tickets
have fun.
are already sold out?
No. We still have tables available. If you go to there's an event on Facebook, and it's through Ticket Leap, so I can't. It's a long code, so I'm not even going to tell you what the website is right now. But if you go on Facebook and find the event, Captain David Dorn Foundation on Facebook, it pops right up. It's pinned. Tickets are available through there.
Okay.
It's $240 per table, tables of 8. $125 for round sponsors and $600 for a sponsored table. And that gets their name on everything. We'll have some special treats just for those tables.
Absolutely.
And their drink package will also be thrown in with that as well.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I will make sure to share that on my Facebook. That way people can actually get to it as well. I think I've already shared something, but I will share it again.
Definitely, yes.
That way when they see this. If someone just wanted to donate, how would they donate?
Same way. You can go through there. You can reach out to me.
Okay.
And we have Venmo, PayPal, Square, you name it, we have it. We take cash, we take checks. We even take credit cards because I want to make it as easy as possible for people. And we do have a website that I have to look into. We have a little glitch with it right at the moment, but it's dornfoundation.com. And, websites are just
crazy.
Yep. Yes. So, but yeah, it's there. I just got to get it. There's a little glitch in it that I got to get fixed. But if you go through Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
It's super easy. You can just grab it on that, and you
Okay.
can get the same access through there.
Okay. All right. And
But-
anything you want to add?
No, you're my hero, though.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think what you're doing is awesome. It's definitely a great tribute to David.
Thank you.
I never met him, but I've heard so many good things about him and you.
He's a stud.
Yeah.
He's a stud. Nobody will ever fill his shoes.
Yeah.
That man is a legacy all his own. And when we have more time, I can tell you some stories that are coming out now. He did some stuff he never told on himself. He always told on everybody else. But now that he's gone, people aren't scared of him anymore.
Yeah, telling him now.
So they're telling on him now. So I'm getting some really juicy stories on him.
Good.
And yeah, he's still with us every day, and he makes it known.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
But like I said, and before we started, you guys are still my kids. Everybody.
Yeah.
Anybody that came on after me, you guys are my kids, and I'm going to look out for you no matter what.
We all appreciate that very much.
And I'll still be the voice, and I'll still be mom, and I'll still yell, but it's for a good cause.
Yeah.
And if we have a moment, I'm fighting now for mental health.
Yes.
It's a huge passion of mine. There are laws in place, but a lot of agencies don't recognize those laws.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to push it state and federal level that mental health is mandatory. If you don't have healthy officers, you're not going to have a healthy agency. If you have unhealthy officers, you're going to have more complaints. You're going to have more injuries. You're going to have more accidents.
Yeah.
So we need our officers mentally stable before we can expect our communities to be.
Absolutely. I think that's a big issue that's been happening for a long time. You'll see new officers come on and slowly, progressively, they change over time.
Oh, yeah.
A 1-year officer versus a 5-year officer, you just notice a complete difference. It took me getting shot to even realize that I had issues going on that not even related to my shooting, but before, you see so many. It's not normal to see so many, not only dead bodies, but people that have been traumatized and, shot and all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's not normal for the normal person to see. So it's definitely a mental health issue.
Yes.
And I think that's awesome. I mean, it's definitely a very lacking moment for a lot of police departments around here.
And I'm going to force the hands of chiefs of police. And they might not like me for it, but I'm going to force their hand to do it because we have too many officers. We're losing too many officers. Not just to suicide, but they're leaving the departments because they're not healthy.
Yeah.
And then our retirees get nothing.
Yeah.
And people don't realize when you retire the effects you have once you've left the agency. You might not have realized you had something until you're removed from it.
Yeah,
it's
a lonely feeling. I only experienced it very slightly, only having 5 years on the department. But after I left, I live an hour away. It's like silence. I wasn't hearing from the same group of friends, and it was a family. I was showing up every day, working with the same people.
Yeah.
I would sometimes not even take vacation days because I wanted to come to work with a group of people that, I loved.
You spend more time with them than you do your actual family.
Absolutely. And when that's gone, it's traumatizing.
It's very traumatizing. And then to have all of that culmination, you don't have an outlet.
Yeah.
At work, we have an outlet for our adrenaline. We have an outlet for that. And when you're at home and it gets quiet, you don't have that outlet and your brain starts playing tricks on you. So it's just not the active guys. It's maintain your mental health while you're active. So when you do retire, you can have that happy retirement. You can spend that retirement money that you've earned.
Yes.
You've earned that money. Let's stay alive and let's spend it.
Yes.
So that's my other passion that I'm pushing. And I'm hoping to get with the governor and a few senators, and we can push these laws.
That would be awesome.
Because we have them, we're not using them.
Not using them. Yes.
So
that's awesome.
We'll see what we can do.
Well, thanks for sharing. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, guys, you heard it. Anne Dorn. So I will be sharing everything you need to know about the Captain David Dorn Foundation on my Facebook. Also, look to see some stuff about mental health awareness. That's going to be awesome to see in the future. So thanks for tuning in.